Someday, I'm gonna make great machines that fly. And me and my friends are gonna go flying together into the forever and beautiful sky. Lylla and Teefs and Floor and me. Rocket.
Whosoever hears this audio, if they be worthy, shall possess the insight, human, and superhuman abilities of the world's mightiest metahumans. Accompanying this journey of high quality nerd commentary, we got my man Colton, K. Pizza Parker, talk to the people.
AKA, I'm here.
And we also got the greatest engineer across all planes of existence, my son Gas. Say what's up?
Yo, what's up?
Yes, sir. And you know who it is? It's your boy Dennis, aka Old Dirty Dennis, aka me name is Pod. Cause me on Pod, aka Yon Dude, aka the Fly Evolutionary, aka Adam Warlock, Space Power Respect, nigga. Yo, welcome to another issue of the Mighty Metahumans podcast. Fellas, what's up? What's going on? How you feeling?
I'm all right. I'm chilling.
Chilling, rolling up.
Yeah. You already know.
Yes, sir. Gas, how you feeling?
Cool. What's up?
Chilling. All right, so movies so far, I would say me and Colton talked about this a little bit before, about Marvel kind of getting back onto like the right track with this film. And I knew as soon as after I left the theater that we were probably gonna agree on the direction of this film. Like we weren't gonna come in here. It wasn't gonna be like the multiverse of madness.
It's basically
like
every
Love and Thunder.
What happened when we seen every movie from Phase 4 so far.
Yeah, like I felt like we were gonna like come in here and basically agree. You know what I mean? For the most part. So before we go into like any real specifics, give me a rating. Give me a rating. Fuck it.
I gave it a 5 out of 5.
Woo!
This
Nice.
might be in my top 4 or maybe top 3 Marvel movies of all time.
Of all time. Damn. Okay, what's the other two?
I actually made a list on Letterboxd.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's Captain America, Winter Soldier,
Uh-huh.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Uh-huh.
And either between Homecoming and Infinity War.
Really? Wow. Okay. That's a lot of high praise. You know, I can't even be mad at it. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Okay.
The only reason I can't, for me personally, I can't give it a 5 is maybe it's nostalgia, whatever the case is. The first one is perfect to me. Like maybe it just came at like the perfect time.
You know what?
when it
We could probably
drops.
argue that later.
Sure.
After we
Like,
talk about it.
'cause
Because
yeah, go ahead.
I don't feel like it tricks us, but I do feel like that final dance battle
You didn't like
makes it not perfect, in my opinion. It's
Okay.
still a 4.5,
Okay,
in my
okay,
opinion, the
okay.
first one. I believe the first one is a 4.5 and this
And
one's
this
a
one's
5.
a 5. Okay. So I guess we're just reversed. Because for me, you know what it was? That's why I said like maybe it's nostalgia. I don't know. Like maybe I got to revisit it or whatever.
No.
But it just felt like
No,
it just felt like when the movie came out, everyone was like, "Yo, what the fuck is this?" And it just slapped us in the
That's
fucking
what I was
face.
going to say. That's not nostalgia. That's really just them breaking a barrier or the mold, in my
Maybe.
opinion.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like when Guardians came out, we was used to everybody's on Earth, everybody's we in different parts of the world, but for the most part, we're not cosmic.
Yeah.
And once it became cosmic, like they kind of came out with like 3 uppercuts in a row in
that's what I'm
fast
saying.
succession,
And
with
it
that
was
movie.
successful. Like it was
Yeah, and it
actually
was
good.
successful. Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, this shit is stupid. Like it was actually good, and that's why I'm like, maybe I need to see it again. But overall, like it just holds a special place. That's one of my favorite MCU movies. So like watching this, by the time I left the theater, I was like, it's a 4 point. It's not better than the first one for me, but I couldn't ask for a better conclusion. You know what I mean? Like there was no better way to end off the trilogy. Like that was as good.
Oh no!
of an ending.
That's a perfect.
Exactly. It's as
ending
good
to a
of an
trilogy.
ending. Like literally the only knock I have on it is the first is so much more special to me that I don't see how I put them on the same level. Like it's just
I feel
half
it.
a point. Half a
understand.
point less. You know what I mean?
Well, I believe that this don't blow the first one out the water, but
it's
better.
damn good. It's
I
damn
think
good.
it's better, but that's me.
I feel you. All right. So let's see. Where do we start? We can start with overall, like I said, I felt like it was a great conclusion to the movie. The movie literally starts and hits the ground running. Like
Oh, yeah,
it doesn't
absolutely.
feel like, there's like this slow build up to, and no, it literally starts, and spoilers, if you have not seen this movie by now, like you're a fucking weirdo. Anyway, it hits the ground running. Rocky gets hurt off the rip. So now it feels like, oh shit,
So there's
actual
stakes.
stakes. Yeah, exactly. Like the movie starts off, and honestly, leading up to the film and all the promotion for the film, James Gunn, you sick son of a bitch, you made it seem like this nigga Rocket was about to die.
He
bro.
did it.
Like,
He did. He pulled out what I call the reverse gambit.
He did. He fucking
He said,
did.
"Motherfuckers, y'all thought this nigga was going down that later. We gonna start doing it
Yo,
now."
I'm watching this shit. I was like, yo, word? We just gonna start with my nigga Rocket dying? Like, it literally starts off with like high stakes, and I like that. You know what I mean? Like, it literally felt like you start the movie off edge of the seat, because now it's like, oh shit, these niggas already down a member. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then on top of that, you got Peter still fucked up over Gamora. So like, there's no real leader right now. The semi second in control is like on his deathbed. You know what I'm saying? And he's and when we were just talking about the whole cosmic aspect, he's not human. So it's like, how do you operate on this nigga? Because he's clearly cybernetically enhanced. None of these niggas know how to fix a nigga. The smartest nigga is the one that's hurt.
Yeah, basically, the one who could fix it is the one that's hurt.
So now it's like a race against time, basically, to figure out how do we save our friend.
And also, I would just like to say,
Mhm.
just to start it off,
Go ahead.
I owe you an apology, Nebula. I wasn't familiar with your game. You came out as a great like pseudo leader.
She
in
did.
like this movie and in these moments. You being the most level headed and actually the most empathetic. Like in my opinion, like she was the most empathetic. Like she understood everyone's problems, everyone's plights, everyone's strengths, everyone's weaknesses,
I
the
definitely wanna
great
talk
parts
about that,
about them, and she was literally. So I feel like Marvel movies lack a character like how Nebula was, and I feel like that'll be very central into going forward because it has to be a semi-important character, but this character also has to be the voice of reason. Has to be the person that like when shit is getting way too whimsical, like be
They
like,
dial
yo,
it back.
cut
Yeah.
that shit out.
Yeah.
Like, yo, it's some serious shit going on. And she did this multiple times in the movie. At times where I have this Marvel fright where I'm like, oh no, everybody's
too
Dave
far.
Chappelle.
Yeah.
Everybody's going Dave Chappelle this. A goat about to come out of nowhere and yell. And Nebula was the person like, all right, y'all,
She
really,
reels
we gotta figure out what the fuck is going on.
She reels them
But
back.
I only brought that up because in that beginning part where everybody was panicking and like, Pete is on his sad boy shit, his sad boy simp sad, I miss my bitch shit. Drax is still Drax. Mantis is better also as a character. And like you could just tell that when Rocket, like you said, is the most important, the smartest person, basically everyone's best friend.
Yeah.
And like when he goes down, you see how the panic kind of starts happening. And I felt like Nebula was the only person not super panicking.
Right. So one thing I definitely wanted to talk about is after seeing the third one and kind of having some time to sit with it. You know what I mean? Because like I do like that instead of like rushing to like do like a pot on it. Like I kind of like want to sit with it and sit with my thoughts on the movie or whatever. When you rewatch the three of them, which is very clever, when you rewatch the three, Quill's story kind of wraps in the second one. But like you can tell this was the tale of Rocket, but it feels like all three of them are the tale of Rocket. And I could make a case for it. You know what I mean? Like the first one, let's start it off. The first one, he doesn't really have a family.
James Gunn also confirmed this.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. See, I didn't even read that.
You're actually right. Which I was gonna wait till the end, but I was like, nah, you're dead right. He said that the secret protagonist is Rocket.
Yeah, because when you watch the first one, he starts off, like kind of like that person that's guarded, and you could tell they had like a really fucked up past, but you don't know what that past is. And I mean, you could say Groot is his family now, but at that time, Groot was kind of like his muscle. It's like, yo, we're gonna get this money together.
So identity. He's trying to figure out identity in the first one.
Exactly. So
he don't feel like he belonged. Remember, he just met this group of niggas. Groot's his only actual friend and family.
Right.
And he's already guarded.
And there's that one scene in the first one where like they're at the bar like him, Drax, and then he freaks. He pulls the blicky on Drax,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yo, y'all laughing at me, like, and you could, and it was like that moment where you can literally see like his guard went down, the actual pain of Rocket, because otherwise he's usually a smart ass trying to get money, but like there's more to him than that, and we never really get a chance to touch on that beyond that scene. And then in the second one, which like even though it's really about Peter, like you could see like his relationship with Groot builds, because like I said in the first one, he was more like the muscle, but remember at the end when he does like that root spear thing to protect them, he turns into like a twig, and that's the first time Rocket cries, and Drax is like petting the nigga and shit. And then in the second one, Groot is a kid, so now he has to be a father figure.
He's the big homie now.
And he's like a father figure to this nigga. You got to watch after his son. You know what I mean? So now you could see their bond start to like really grow and become more. Then you lead into...
Before you get into the third movie, I got to throw in one in there. Shout out the Russo bros.
Okay.
His whole journey with Thor, was also another thing.
And I was going into that before I get to the third one. We on the same page? We on the same page, my nigga.
And you could jump in after me, but like that whole journey, I do remember thinking like, so we're rewatching Rocket's identity, which is more advanced now because remember he's moved with a team, other people. He trusts humans now and shit. He knows now all humans are bad and shit. Some of them are super powered and shit or whatever.
Yeah.
And you see the difference in the openness of like when they meet Thor to when he first met like Peter and them.
Yep.
Like he's like, oh shit, y'all telling me this person's cool. Let's go. Let's do it. Let me figure out who this person is. And then through that whole interaction with him and Thor, I honestly, truly believe this is how they should have kept Thor for like the rest of his movies.
Forever.
Because he was more like empathetic, more serious.
Yes.
He had like, he was telling him like my brother, like he was opening up about his brother, and then Rocket is opening up about different shit. And then even like the stupid jokes of them calling him another animal and is going into his identity because he didn't know he was a raccoon. So they're calling him a trash panda. He's like, what the fuck is that? They calling him a raccoon. He don't know what the fuck that is. He's like, what the fuck? Like, but it just showed more vulnerability in Rocket. Like more like growth. Him like actually being reliable. Like him helping Thor like open up the fucking star so that he could get Stormbreaker.
Yep.
It's just... They did a really fucking good job.
They did. Yeah. So continuing what you were saying about like Infinity War, the reason why I wanted to bring up like the Russos before we get to the third one is going off of the helm of the first Guardians movie where he thinks he loses Groot and he becomes the twig and he cries. It's the first time we've seen emotion out of him. Now what happens in Infinity War? He loses him again. And he breaks. He falls apart in his hands. He's just like, yo, I can't. Like he breaks. He can't. He loses this nigga again. So now we going into the third Guardians film, where now he has the young adult Groot off the roids. You know what I mean? Off the performance enhancement Groot. But at this point, his bond with, just like you said, his bond with the whole team has grown because they've been through so much. You know what I mean? And even when you think about everything that was happening on Titan in Infinity War, they were all fighting against this nigga except for Rocket. So imagine finding out your whole family that you just built is just gone. There was nothing you could do because you wasn't even on the planet with these niggas. And the only person to come back was, like you mentioned earlier, Nebula. You know what I mean? So you could literally see the growth in both of their characters because they both lost all these people that was important to them. You know what I'm saying? So now we get into the third movie, and it just made so much more sense seeing by the end of it that watching Rocket grow from this person that didn't care about anyone and his only family at the time was Groot and he was the muscle to now leading a team where now he has to protect his family because he's the leader now.
He's the leader.
It's his job to keep these niggas safe. It just felt like a perfect fucking closing. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, damn, this nigga James Gunn, his dick jokes, he know how to make some emotional shit when he needs to, bro.
Hey,
like,
man, look, listen.
Did it.
You know what's crazy? You know what all they needed to tell him? No dick jokes.
Yo.
That's all they had to tell him. And that nigga could make a perfect fucking movie with no hitches. Yo, Feige looked him in the eyes and said, yo, you could do whatever you want. I will let you say fuck. But No dick jokes. And if you do make a dick joke, it better be Groot. And then he had Groot do it.
Yo.
Remember when Groot, I forgot the jokes exactly, but I remember somebody was like, yeah, you're going to have to go down on him. And then like Groot was like, I am Groot. They was like, whoa, not like that. And I was like, he got the dick joke off, but he got it off tastefully.
Yeah,
guys,
listen.
DC is in good hands.
That son of a bitch.
What the fuck?
But let's stick to closure, right? So sticking to closure, we talked about Rocket and, you know, like him becoming the captain, which also was closure because he always felt like he was the captain. Like him and Peter
used to fight about it in the beginning.
And now it's like he finally got the role. Next closure, Peter and Gamora's story.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean? Now, to me, it's like, you know, two people that get together and it's like a beautiful tragedy. Like the tragedy is that it doesn't last, but the beautiful thing is that it happened. You know what I mean? Like he'll always have that moment. He has to get over it, and he kind of sort of did.
Yeah,
but
he threw her off a magic bridge, and she came back. And is it the same one I came back? Yeah. I don't know. Was it magic? Who knows? But I know is she's a fucking dick. I felt my boy in that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, even going back to like James Gunn and being able to hold like emotional shit. That one scene at that towards the end where she was just like, "Yo, I bet we were fun." And he was like you wouldn't believe, and she just gave that like little smile. It was like, God damn it,
you did it. You did that. You did that. She's a Ravager. She's a Ravager now. Fuck it.
Fuck. Now, another one of my favorite closures. And I feel like it was done so tastefully because it kind of just tells everyone like especially the complainers like a giant fuck you is Drax.
I love the Drax.
Drax
so
closure
much.
is so fucking dope because one of everybody's complaints, even mine at one point, was his name is Drax the Destroyer, but he did no fucking destroy.
He don't be destroying like that.
Comedic relief, and even Batista himself was just like, "Yo, I really wanted at some point to, you know, have like a serious toll or whatever."
Yeah,
and. You know, like his main story in the first one was like, yo, I'm trying to kill Thanos because he destroyed my family. He
destroyed my family,
and then it's like, after that, it's like, all right, so Infinity War happened, and it's just like you met the nigga, and you still wasn't serious enough. Like, it didn't feel like an emotional toll. And Thanos didn't even look at this nigga like, oh, yeah, I did kill your family.
He just turned him into fucking spaghetti.
Slinky and shit. It was just like, yo, bro, like, so I understood, like, you know, a lot of the complaints, but the ending and the closure for him was so great because they took all of the complaints that people had. It was just like, yo, you were never the destroyer. Bro.
You were actually, you guys were right this whole time.
You were a fucking dad the whole time. Like, you were trying to get by.
The thing about Drax's character, even in the comic book, right? He is a destroyer, but it's really a tragic story because he's always worried about his family that died, that got like murdered. So like his revenge was just too crazy to the point that it would cloud his judgment, which is like they did a good job even with this because like even when he seen Thanos, he would just and jump at him like you're not gonna do nothing like that. So it was like kind of perfect to see him finally like kind of round out and like but still be Drax. You get what I'm saying? Like where like he don't understand metaphors and he just like starts wilding like metaphor. Her head is flat and shiny and green. Metaphor. Like so it's like he's still but like I really did appreciate them showing like the father side and the he's more Drax the Protector than he is the Destroyer.
Yes, I like that. We're gonna call him Drax the Protector from now on. Because even the scene where they were trying to get the kids off the ship and he's just like doing robot moves and shit for them to like entertain them or whatever. And it's like, yo, this is who he really was the whole time. Like he just became a quote unquote destroyer because he lost his family. But he was never that guy.
He was always way more noble than he gave himself credit for.
Yes.
And he was, and I think that's perfect because who he is, because he is a very cut and dry kind of straight person.
Yeah.
And like, I like that. Like now, more time passes, you'll see actual more emotions. You'll see him actually like, but he's still Drax. You get what I'm saying? Like he's still. So it was very beautiful to watch that, even with like him and Mantis's relationship. Right? Yeah. It wasn't even like a romantic relationship. It was just like literally like homies that like kind of need each other and like. And you could even tell when she was
support
like,
homies.
when she was like, I'm about to leave, he was in protector mode. He's like, I'll come with you.
Yeah.
And it's like,
perfect. Go ahead. Finish.
And he's just like, I'll come with you. And she's like, no, I could do this journey on my own, blah, blah, blah. And he had to let that part go because that's always who he was fundamentally. He just always wants to protect. He always wants to be like the hero. And like the tragic, unlikely hero that's like, even if I lay my life on the line, like as long as I protect what I got to protect, that's going to make up for what happened to me tragically. And I'm happy that he's getting a chance to make up for being a father instead of like the revenge. You get what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a beautiful ending for him.
And that's why I said probably one of my favorite endings was Drax. I have zero complaints with that. I think they did a perfect job. Now you brought up Mantis. I want to talk about Mantis for a second because that definitely caught me off guard. Honestly, I thought Mantis was staying. To be 100% honest with you, especially building off of the holiday special, where it felt like she was the leader at the time because they made her like she was like the star of the special with like Drax as her like co-host or whatever. So and then they mentioned her relationship with Peter, like they're like siblings. So to me, it was like, okay, maybe Peter leaves and she becomes like the semi-leader or whatever, and she's just like, nah, I'm out too. So I'm watching the movie like, who the fuck is the team? Like, like if everybody leaves. But I did enjoy her explanation of, I've always been listening to everybody else. I kind of want to figure out my own shit now. And it's like, that's real. Like, even if you wasn't an alien, I feel like that's something humans relate to. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just trying to figure out your own shit and, like go through the motions of what that entails or whatever. So to me, even though it did catch me off guard, I was happy for her character to figure out her shit.
They finally showed her being a fucking kick-ass.
Yeah.
Like a motherfucking martial artist going fucking crazy. Yeah. And I very much appreciated that. To the point where, like, when she did tell Drax, like, I got it, I was like, yeah, she got it. She fucking got it, bro. Like,
I mean, by now, they should have... You 3 movies in. You fought Alien. You fought all types of shit. You better figure some shit out.
That fucking scene of them in the hallway might be
teamwork.
Might be better than almost any other like
teamwork, bro. I love
Avengers like the team scene because
what makes it fire is they didn't communicate at all the entire scene. They just knew. Everybody just knew what you were supposed to be doing in this moment. And they helped each other without saying a word.
It was so beautiful.
It was beautiful. Yeah, that's real. Yo, Vin Diesel's always going to be my nigga, but that's family.
That was family.
That was family, bro.
That was family. Unless Fast X don't got a scene like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Fast X need a scene where all of them fighting in the hallway.
Yo, it's going to be crazy.
That shit's going to be nuts because it's like 15 stalls now.
Or like 15 cars, nigga. Going crazy.
15 cars driving over each other and flipping off and shit.
And
man.
And like the Holland Tunnel going crazy,
Yo,
nigga.
Okay, yeah, maybe. Nigga might be on to something. But,
all right, so final 2 that I wanted to talk about in the closure aspect, Nebula and Gamora. Know what I mean? Now, they didn't really have like a giant close. It was more like a respect aspect where like after she had that scene with Peter that I talked about earlier and they did the little grunt and then she did it back and that was it. Like, and that, like they knew what that meant to each other. It's like, yo, like, whatever, nigga. Like,
yeah, whatever. We family.
Just hold it down. Like,
I think that's like their greeting though.
Yeah, like that.
So that shit is hot.
Yeah, like
that's like them having a handshake.
Exactly. Like they not gonna ever be like besties or sissies or whatever. But it was just more like, yo, like I know who
actually
you are.
think
I know
that
what you do.
dead means that they're sisters though. That's like one of those warrior type of things.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yo, like
it's like a
I always acknowledge you.
Exactly,
like,
it's a respect thing. It's like
you.
It's like I respect your game. You know what I mean? It's on some Shaq shit. The Shaq game. You know what I mean?
I apologize. I wasn't familiar with your game.
I'm familiar with your game.
Now I'm familiar. Hey, yo, I fuck with you.
Yeah. So
also,
I did like that. What's up?
Nebula's is fucking cool.
Nebula's cool.
She's so fucking. Hold on, cool. I owe her a super apology. This is what I was going to talk about earlier. Yo, Nebula's like new arm
is badass.
Is fucking cool. But not only that, this is the first time, and I'm not even joking. This is the first time they've 100% utilized the fact that she is like almost 98% like cyborg, right? So like every time she got like fucked up and got hit with the body aura and just came back, it was like in my head, I was like, this is like reading a comic book. Like, this is actually like reading a comic book. This is like seeing a manga. Like, I was like, this is actually amazing. Like, that scene in the hallway where the nigga knocked her head off, but then she rolled it back into place and then fucking wild on him. I just remember being like, this is fucking amazing. I was like, I couldn't even believe that Marvel would allow something like this. And not only that, it also showed me that a director can be mad creative within boundaries. There's so many boundaries placed within Marvel movies, and now that I've seen this movie, you guys will never get another fucking excuse ever again. Now it's probably going to be way more harsh if you guys don't do shit like what I've seen from this, because there's a boundary. PG-13. They said fuck.
They did.
They made sex jokes.
They did.
It was body horror. A nigga face got ripped off. Nebula was fucked up multiple times. They did experimentation on animals. Bruh.
You know what
it was
is?
Murder.
You know what I'll say? And it's not, I'm definitely not caping for any future directors that come in. James Gunn kind of, he got to a point, I guess, with Marvel where it's like, you got to let him run. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's proven. And on top of that, this is his last movie. He's proven, and you guys needed a solid W. You got to let him run. It's not like I'm a new director coming in and y'all can kind of tell me, it's James Gunn, bro. Like, he's literally running DC at this point, and I'm still doing Marvel movies. All my movies that I've dropped for y'all so far, Billy, like, I'm giving you niggas hit. I gave you guys a franchise out of nothing. Like, nobody knew these niggas, and I turned it into a franchise. Like, there's people who are like happy to see Rocket, and nigga, I remember seeing the clip with Rocket and Floor and Lylla and Teefs, and on the verge of tears. Like, it was a beautiful scene where they were just talking about them. I was like, yo,
I hate it. I hate it so much.
Like,
listen, Floor, Teefs, Lylla, and Rocket 5 ever. Them niggas should have been together 5 ever. That's all I'm saying. I would have gave this movie 4 stars because of how angry I was about that. I'm not gonna lie. But then I realized how good the writing was because they had me so invested that I was fucking tight.
Bro, there was no real animals on the scene on the screen at that moment.
Brother,
and I felt
those were real animals to me. They live in my heart right now to this moment. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. The High Evolutionary is a fucking bitch. And he needs to rest in fucking piss for the rest of his days. And if he comes back, I myself will jump through the fucking screen and finish this nigga. I promise you, son. I have never been more happy to see an evil nigga die until that. When they ripped his face off, I yelled, woo, in the theater. People looked at me, son. People was like, yo, is he okay? They ripped that nigga face off. I said, woo, ugly motherfucker.
Not this nigga doing the white woo.
I was excited, nigga. I said, embarrass that nigga. Embarrass him. That's not even his real face. He's ugly.
Oh, shit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Now, so, thank you for leading the perfect segue. We got to talk about the bad guy, my nigga. We got to talk about the High Evolution. No pun intended, but I like the evolution of his character. Like, this, no pun intended. Like, how it starts off, he's more human, like when he first started.
Yep.
And on his quest to be perfect, he kept cybernetically enhancing himself until he was barely human. Like, all he had was the skin of his former face stretched out on top of like advanced machinery, my nigga. Like, that was it.
That's
like
the High Evolutionary. He moved with the times. He became more technology than he became human because he felt like that was it. And he also considered himself a god.
Yep.
So
before you continue, this is my thing about the High Evolutionary, and I felt like it was a breath of fresh air. This nigga was a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit from when we started.
From day one.
And he was a piece of shit till the end. That was one of my favorite things about him because not every villain needs a backstory.
They did not make you empathize with this nigga at all.
He was a piece of shit.
I loved it.
You hated it from the beginning. Like, it was very clear who was the good guys
and
who was the fucking bad guys.
Yep.
Like, this wasn't... And not to say, like, I don't like when shit like that happens because Thanos
Nuance
was
is okay.
It was good. But sometimes you just want somebody to hate, my nigga. Like,
but even with Thanos, right? Thanos was telling you, oh, half of the people died because they didn't want to take my advice. It's like, nigga, your advice is still kind of crazy.
It's
just
crazy.
Wipe out half of everybody, no matter what they did, indiscriminately is kind of nuts. So I appreciated that they gave you that option to be like, oh, he made kind of sense.
Yeah.
But then I feel like if you do that, you need to question yourself, player. Like, why you feel like that? That, like, indiscriminately, we need to get rid of mad people.
If you ever took the L train during Rush Hour,
oh,
nigga,
my God,
Thanos is right,
crying.
nigga.
I'm crying. But yeah, but that's... But no, it's even like the same thing with, like, Killmonger, right? Which I appreciate Killmonger about, right? His ideas were so extreme because it was like, again, I always said I love Killmonger, but he always took it too far.
He took it
because it's like, why are you trying to destroy your African heritage as well?
Exactly.
You should only be trying to destroy the white people and shit, bro. Like, now you trying to fuck up where you came from. All right, now you going too far.
It's like when a nigga has a good point and they just keep going.
Keep
going.
Like
Kanye.
Like, absolutely.
It's like
perfect example.
It's like having a good point, but then it's like, whoa.
But then it's like, why you going this far? You don't have to go this far.
Exactly.
So I like that the High Evolutionary was like none of the other people we explored.
Exactly.
It was like, I was just... And like a sociopath to the point of like, you know in your mind when you see what he does and what he's doing, you know that even if he sounds nice, you know that he's just doing all of this to evolve shit.
Exactly.
To make the perfect race. And like anything he doesn't deem perfect is indispensable.
And that's exactly where I was about to take us. The idea of him making things perfect is why does everything has to be to his definition of perfection?
Because he thought he was God.
Exactly. And that's why I liked him as a villain. He was a sociopath with no redeeming qualities. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like, oh, I lost my family because, my wife had like a bad heart and now I try to operate on people and make them perfect. No, he was a piece of shit from the very beginning to a piece of shit to the very end. And it made it was so satisfying. Oh my God, when they ripped his face. It was so fucking satisfying.
I fucking said, woo, in the theaters, man. I was excited.
He felt like you know what he felt like? He felt like Daniel Craig's like a Bond villain.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a Bond villain meets Dr. Frankenstein, nigga. Like, it was just like he had his idea of what perfection was and he didn't care who he had to kill to get it. Like when they had the counter Earth, and he was like, nah, just destroy the whole planet.
And then hilariously enough, you could even see how flawed his mindset was, right?
Mm-hmm.
So boom. He believes in perfection. He wants to make the perfect races. But he makes an quote unquote imperfect race in Rocket, and Rocket could figure shit out that he can't.
Yeah.
And that fucked him up so much because he's so up his own ass that he's like, how could I not figure it out? But this imperfect piece of shit could figure it out.
Yes.
And that like made you realize like, bro, your whole philosophy is actually flawed.
Exactly.
Because if Rocket can figure it out, that actually makes him more perfect than you.
Exactly.
So, and then that also added an extra layer because that's his insecurity. Because now, how could this little piece of shit know more than me, and I'm supposed to be perfect? And I feel like that also made him go down the spiral of giving himself more cybernetics, because he probably felt like I have to keep up with Rocket.
Because technically, if you're already perfect, how do you improve perfection? You know what I mean? So like for him to continuously like improve on himself, that means you were never perfect.
He knew he wasn't perfect,
exactly.
And he knew he wasn't perfect. And I knew the moment began when Rocket figured it out.
Yep.
And he then started making perfect people, and he was like, I was like, yeah, he spiraled. He's been spiraling because he realized something that he considers imperfect actually had the perfect idea.
And that's why he was so gung-ho to get this nigga back. It was just like, yo, I made you, but you're better than me. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I had to figure out what I did with you to improve it on me somehow. Like, so it's just like you said, it's ego. Like,
insecurity and ego.
Yeah, he couldn't figure that shit out. Now, speaking of High Evolutionary,
Oh my god.
I'm sure you heard the same whispers I've heard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we travel some of the same circles, visit some of the same sites. So I know you've seen comments just like other people have seen comments. You know what I mean? So I'm sure you heard this before I even say it. You know what I mean? And we spoke on Jonathan Majors a little bit on Patreon. You know what I mean? Check out our Patreon, sign up.
Thanks.
With the whole Kang thing. And, you know, people were like, yo, I would be okay if they were going to continue this and they got rid of Jonathan Majors and they just brought Kang, High Evolutionary in and just say he was like a Kang variant the whole time.
That would make sense. I would like that.
You know what I mean? And, you know, the actor, I'll make sure I pronounce it right, Chakudi Awuji, I feel like he could take on the... Because we gave it up to my son. We gave it up to my son from Star Wars. Fuck, what is his name right now? Finn.
Yeah.
We thought he would be a good... And I still stand by that. But after seeing the High Evolutionary... I would be okay. Honestly,
He would be great.
I would be okay.
Did.
You know what I mean? I'd be
If
okay
they did
with
decide to change things, I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
My only kickback on it is I would want him to stay as the High Evolutionary is, like a piece of shit. Because you can tell Kang's backstory was more than it was more Thanos like than High Evolutionary. It was more like the other Kangs did something to this man. And now that's why he wants revenge. And I'm sure it has something to do with a family or whatever the case was, and some twisted, I'm going to rule the universe because if someone else did, like, I don't want them to suffer the way my family. I felt like we were going down a path like that. It was never going to be a clear, he's a villain and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if they did do it, I would be okay. I would turn a blind eye to it. Like, sure, like High Evolutionary was always a Kang variant and we just redo... I mean, we're still early. We redo the Ant-Man scenes with my son.
Nah, we can keep it like that, right? And then just act like
the end.
Because remember,
the end scenes,
I feel like again, we already when we watched Quantum Mania, we already made the guess that the world he went back to, he's dead in that world.
Yeah.
Isn't that not a perfect reset point
That's
to
true.
pretend like Jonathan Majors just never existed after he fucking fell into that little quantum machine?
Listen, I feel like they have options, and that's a great fucking option. You know what I'm saying? Like
that is a great option to just
like,
reset everything.
Yo, just end it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just we don't have to like struggle with this Jonathan Majors thing forever. We don't have to keep going with you know, like trying to figure out where they're going with that. So yeah, like I said, I feel like it would be great if we just get him instead. So now wrapping up, going towards the end, we cover High Evolutionary. Big shoes to fill, right? Gunn did a fantastic job. Like the second one,
I will
the weakest
say,
one, but
hilariously enough, we did forget somebody, but they are forgettable.
who did we forget?
That's Adam Warlock.
Oh. You know what? There's not much for me to say about him because I don't hate the character. Because I just knew that he wasn't. Gunn made sure to put it in the film like we took him out too early and we're gonna fuck him up, and they fucked him up.
He said, "Look, y'all, new Drax. Enjoy.
You know,
enjoy a golden Drax, y'all."
Super Saiyan Drax. So like,
whatever.
You know what I mean? Like
I fuck with that little girl. Is that Moon Dragon?
Or is
that
we're gonna cover those
Quasar? Yeah,
we're gonna let's wrap up with those three.
Yeah.
So two things I wanted to cover. This Easter egg kind of blew my mind. The Ravagers, when there was that one scene, it kind of like I saw it and I was like, wait, I need to go back to this. Where they boarded the Bowie and
then nigga use magic.
Kamatage, my nigga.
Yeah.
Like
he's an alien. He was supposed to supreme.
Yeah, in the comics, I was like, yo, this nigga James Gunn pulling out deep cuts. I like this. Maybe somebody takes advantage of that story later on. You know what I mean? Or maybe
a future.
Yo,
a damn future whatchamacallit Doctor Strange movie. That nigga might pop in.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe something with Wong.
I would like to know more his back. He clearly uses the same magic that they do.
Yeah, it's absolutely the same magic.
So let's cover that at some point. You know what I'm saying? I did like Howard the Duck. Like, I feel like every time we see him, his design gets better. Like, I do like it. Maybe we get something about that soon. All right. End credits. because we coming down to the very end now. You just brought her up.
Phyla-Vell.
I like that because it means there's some sort of future connection with
Drax's
Marvel
daughter.
and fucking Captain Marvel. Like, it's coming.
And also Drax's daughter, Moondragon.
Yes, it's some he literally put the breadcrumbs there for somebody to pick up and run with. You know what I mean? So I do like that.
You seeing Nova's most likely in the future.
Yes. So I guess we can say, just like you said, Adam is like the new Drax.
He's the golden Drax, man.
He's like he's a Super Saiyan Drax. He's like 5 times stronger than this nigga with cosmic powers and shit. You got Phyla's kind of like a Mantis, maybe like a Nebula.
Well, no, actually, Phyla's more like Miss Marvel in them and Captain Marvel in them. That's like Phyla's power. It's like the cosmic power.
Right. I'm
So
just
she's
talking
more
about
like
like
them.
who she would replace
Okay.
in the current Guardians team. Because I mean, she's still a kid, so I feel like she'll have like the childlike personality of like a Nebula to like at least to start. You know what I mean? We got Kraglin replacing my son Yondu.
Crying.
Mary Poppins. I mean, we got Rocket leading this
And
team.
then we got Alpha Groot, nigga.
Yo.
The biggest Groot we've ever seen in our lives. Nigga is so fucking brawling.
Yo, he's like Bane now, nigga. Like, he's really going crazy off them enhancements. So no, I did like that. I do feel like whoever takes the reign for the Guardians now can go crazy because there's no humans on this team now. Like, you can have the craziest fucking adventures with my son Cosmo. Know what I mean? Rocket, Groot,
Nebula.
Nebula's not even. She's gonna stay on nowhere, so she's not even like a part of the
true.
like core team now. Adam Warlock, Alpha Groot, Kraglin, like, you can go crazy with this team now. You can make it as weird as you want, is basically what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And then, especially with your leader being a raccoon, nigga. Like, a super smart raccoon. Like, you can go crazy with this team. So now I had like a 2-part analysis for this next part. Because the movie ends after that scene. It's like, oh, great, Rocket survived. We have this new crazy team. And it literally ends with the legendary Star-Lord will return. So I'm watching this shit and I'm like, okay, in my mind, it could be one of two things. One, clearly, they're making it clear that Star-Lord will come back. Doesn't mean that he's coming back with the Guardians. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, he could appear somewhere else.
It's just him.
Exactly. So one of my theories was like, maybe, okay, a Guardians 4, now you get a new dynamic of Peter being the displaced member. Like, because this is Rocket's team now. Like, and he hasn't had a chance to work with Adam Warlock and all these other niggas. So now you're like playing second fiddle to the new leader of the team. Know what I mean? Or wait, actually, before we cover that, I wanted to cover this one thing, even though I did see that James Gunn did basically agree. I won't say he agreed with me. He confirmed my suspicions about Groot saying "I love you," and it was just like we understood him.
We
now.
part of the family.
Yeah, we family now. We can understand this nigga, and it was like I always thought that was fucking cool. So that also kind of bails out the next director because now you could actually have Groot talk, and it's just like, yo, no, it's just that the audience now understands Groot. Like, we speak Groot now. You know what I'm saying? So I do like that aspect. Now, the second part of my analysis was Doctor Strange. Stay with me. This is random. Remember, before Guardians 3 happens, we're in No Way Home. He makes a spell. Everyone on Earth forgets Peter Parker. Who's on Earth now? Peter Quill, nigga. He was not on Earth. He was not on Earth.
Oh, he remembers Peter Parker. He damn remembers it. He's gonna be like, hey, look, Spider Dude. He's gonna be like, what the
they
fuck?
Work together. You know
also, do you know what this also could set up? Follow me now.
I feel like you're going with my second theory.
That nigga knows about like the Secret Wars and the Skrulls and the Kree and all of that shit.
Uh-huh.
So he can like be like good information. Like he could end up being in Secret Wars, low key.
You know what I mean?
like he could dead end up being in like random shows just popping out because he's on Earth now.
So here's my second theory. I like that you brought that up. My second theory is Peter lives a normal life now. He gets to live like a normal civilian. He finds a girl because, you know, he just got over his ex, Gamora, so he finds a new girl. You know who his new girl is, nigga? Kitty Pryde. They use these niggas. They use him to help usher in the X-Men. Because at one point, he did date Kitty Pryde, my nigga.
I'm crying.
So if he's going to have a normal girlfriend, we find out later on, this bitch is a mutant the whole time. And this nigga helps usher in. Like, they use him. I don't know if they're going to do a full film with him. Because I feel like that's a conversation we can have. Is like, can Peter Quill carry a film by himself? I don't think so, personally. I feel like what made him work is he always had a team. So there's someone to bounce jokes off of. I don't know if he can do it by himself. Maybe a series, limited series. I don't know.
I think it's gonna be a series. I don't think it's gonna be a movie.
Like,
and I think it'll be him like probably trying to live a normal life and running into mad crazy shit that's been happening.
Exactly. So I do feel like sticking with the series aspect, I do feel like he does get a girl. It would be so fucking perfect if it's Kitty Pryde, bro. Because Feige and the rest of them have said that we're getting closer to them introducing the mutants. And if you're trying to find different ways to introduce different mutants and sneak them into the bigger MCU universe, there's your story. It's straight out of the fucking comics, my nigga. This nigga dated her for a little bit. It's a perfect excuse to be like, oh shit, you're a what now? Like, you could do what? Like, I just came back to Earth to find like a normal girl. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, now I'm dating another me. I just got over my ex from space. It's just like, yo, like now I'm dating a chick and it's perfect for him because even in the first one, he dated that red chick, the red alien girl in the first one that he had like a stowaway at the bottom of his ship. So he's already used to space women. So like, like a mutant this is right up his alley. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel like there's a chance at that, and the fact that they never said that Star-Lord returns in the Guardians clearly means he's going to do some crazy shit on Earth, and this would be a great way to tie in because I don't want to
in the comics in an Annihilation event, Mantis, Adam Warlock, Phyla-Vell, Rocket Raccoon, Drax, and Gamora join him to fight Skrulls.
Hey man,
so
listen,
anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
They be pulling pieces from here and there. You know what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
So I'm saying that we could see that.
I would love it. I would fucking love it. And again, that would also help him having a solo series, but not having to just do it by himself. You know what I'm saying? Like, he would still have a little bit of help from the rest of the team because he works best with the rest of the team. So having them around, and we can't even cross it off as like, oh no, that's not possible. Marvel has clearly showed we got the money to bring in whoever we need. So if we got to have a CGI'd Rocket for like 6 episodes on a TV show, nigga, we got the budget. We'll fucking make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I do feel like there's a possibility, and it's more leaning towards a show versus a movie. I feel like maybe.
Do you think?
What's up?
That even though Ego was his father, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's any chance that they'll talk about like Spartax, like Jason, like his real dad, but like they won't like just bring it up as his real dad? Like maybe like he'll find out like the guns he have is like Spartax technology, and
maybe
they'll be like, you got some type of birthright when it comes to Spartax.
The only reason I'll put it in the maybe is because maybe if it was James Gunn, for sure.
Yeah.
But since someone else is clearly going to have to take this role over, I'm going to lean.
But I'm saying, what if they do that? Because, you know, a lot of people didn't really care for Ego. So what if to correct things, they're like, actually, Ego wasn't your father. Like, yeah, Ego did have sex with your mom, but like, there's another space nigga from Spartax that had sex with your mom, and then he left off to space, and like, now you got to go be the Prince of Spartax or the King of Spartax, because that happens in the comics to Quill, and then that's the adventure he has to take kind of by himself for a little while. That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
I think they're gonna keep him on Earth for a little bit.
Exactly. I feel like we just got him on Earth, so whatever happens in his, we're just assuming series, is going to be an Earth-based thing. And that's why I'm leaning towards the whole X-Men shit, because they're coming and they're going to be looking for different shows and different movies and different ways to like sneak a mutant or two in there. And this would be the perfect way, especially for a Peter Quill that's just been heartbroken, losing his girl, to finally find someone new, to find out that she's a mutant. And it still ties into comic book lore. So I don't know. And I do think that it also helps bail out Peter Quill in terms of music, which is something that I feel like whoever takes the reins with the next Guardian film, whenever that comes out, has a lot on their hands because music has played a huge role in what the Guardians are. So now you have Peter on Earth, who now is, I could imagine Peter with like an iPad or like an iPhone with millions of songs at his disposal and streaming and shit. So now you can kind of go crazy with his, like a soundtrack or whatever. But the Guardians, Rocket still has the stuff that Peter had. So now, like, how do you implement music into this new generation of the Guardians team? I'm interested in that specifically because there's one thing I felt like James Gunn did right across those 3 films is he killed it with the music. Like, I've always gone back after watching the film and like download the soundtrack or whatever. Like they did a fantastic job every time. So I'm interested to see like how that evolves and how that also evolves Peter's character. Because now it's like, yo, like you still listen. Not that there's anything wrong with listening to David Bowie in 2023. Let me be very clear. But there's so much more music now. Like, what are you gonna do when you hear hip hop for the first time? Nigga? Like, you just heard like Wu-Tang 36 Chambers for the first time or some shit, or like fucking Lil Yachty or some shit, nigga. Like, what are you gonna do now? Like, what is that? How does that change your character and your taste in music and movies? Because you were still talking about Footloose in Infinity War, nigga. Like,
that is true.
So I'm interested to see how like it modernizes his character and helps the growth of, you know what I'm saying, like his character or whatever. But yeah, man, honestly, I feel like we've talked about like everything, unless you got something else you want to fucking cover.
Nah, not really.
Nah. All right. So yeah, like I feel like we kind of covered everything. Again, 4.5 movie. Like I could not ask for a better ending. It's just me being a stickler. Honestly, like I have no problem with you saying like it's a 5 out of 5. It's damn near perfect. It's just I love the first one so much, and I just can't give them the same score. Like it's just an inch above. If I can get,
I can actually give it a high score.
I give it a 4.7. I give it a 4.8. I just can't give it the 5. That first one is perfect for me.
I feel it though.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so yeah, I guess we can wrap. So this has been another issue of the Mighty Metahumans podcast, providing you with that high quality nerd commissary. Subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend. We on Patreon. Niggas is going crazy on the Patreon. Let me tell y'all. Like, we got the Night Deviant back. This nigga's going crazy. You know what I mean? We relaunched Dennis Plus. Shout out to all the Dennis Plus subscribers. You know what I mean? Gene Lantern team. Shout out to y'all. Yeah, so like I said, follow us on Patreon, subscribe, choose a tier, preferably Dennis Plus. You can find us on all social media sites as the Mighty Metas. We going crazy on YouTube. You know what I mean? If you want up to the minute, literally by the next day, 1 minute reviews of movies, of trailers. We're gonna start doing comics and because I know my son be reading mad mangas. We about to get him to start doing some like 1 minute reviews on some mangas and shit. Put y'all niggas on, you know what I mean? So next time you jump into like Barnes and Nobles or some shit, like you know exactly what you need to cop.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like all you need is like 5 minutes. We gonna have you straight set up. You know what I mean? Follow us on TikTok. You know what I mean? We be having mad event niggas. We doing food festivals and shit. We all over the city. You know what I mean? Niggas is outside for the summer. Feel me? Instagram, of course. Twitter, of course. You can follow us everywhere. You can follow me on all social media sites as Old Dirty Dennis. That's OLDIRTYDENNIS. You can get my cards, you know what I mean, on Etsy, Art by Den. That's ARBYDENN. You know what I mean? I got like Zodiac cards every month. If you a Pokemon fan, if you into like Zodiac signs, every month we got a new Zodiac sign card dropping. You know what I mean? Based on some Pokemon shit, create my own shit. It's some fly shit. You know what I mean? You need birthday cards. You got a boo. I got shit for your boo. If you got multiple boos, I got multiple cards for your multiple boos. You know what I mean? Whatever you need, I got you. You need some art for your wall. I got art for your walls. You know what I mean? Whatever you need, check out my Etsy page. You know what I mean? You can find my son Colton
at the Colton Show _ on Twitter, or the Colton Show on everywhere else. TheColtonShow.com is my website.
Yes.
I also have my portfolio. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's on my Twitter, so go check my Twitter out.
Yes. And he on Twitch. You know what I mean?
I'm on
Don't
Twitch.
forget to
I'll
let these
be
niggas know.
on Twitch,
building and shit.
Twitch.tv/Colton. So I've been doing a lot of Legos recently. I'm gonna do one tonight.
If y'all want to do a favor for me, go on his Twitch while he's streaming and tell this nigga to build a shelf. This nigga's going crazy.
Oh my God. You're right though.
This nigga need to build like 2 shelves. This nigga's going nuts in
I
it.
need to build 2 shelves.
Yeah. So give us some final words. Send us home.
Damn. I hate the High Evolutionary. He's the fucking worst.
Here's my bonus send us home quote. Woo!
That ass, and they ripped that nigga face off. I was so excited, man.
Yo, we out.
We out.